Thank you. Thank you for being here. On this issue of China, one of the things that makes it such a unique competitor and an adversary in many ways is, unlike the Soviet Union, they are not just a military and diplomatic adversary. They are a technological, industrial, commercial adversary as well. And it's the one I want to focus on because I do think it challenges us in our foreign policy apparatus to combine commerce and trade and technological matters with geopolitics, which are clearly important. They've always been important. The technological and industrial high ground has always been a precursor of global power. So if you look at what China's achieved in the last 10 years ago, maybe even less, they led in none of the cutting edge fields.
Yeah.
Today they dominate the world's electric vehicle markets. And primarily this is a challenge because they're dumping these cars now, or threatening to dump these cars and eviscerate automakers beyond just electric cars outside of China. They are dominant in energy fields, particularly I think the 80% of the global supply chain for solar. They are technologically a leader in nuclear power in ways that have surpassed our own. And unfortunately, despite the electric cars and nuclear power leadership, they're also the world's largest polluter. So just think about that. But the two I really want to focus on is that I think really go to the heart of power. Number one is, by far, they are the world's leading shipbuilder.
Yeah.
They're building aircraft carriers. They're building this fleet of LNG ships. They're even building cruise ships. And we all understand that shipbuilding is at the core of the ability to project power, not just military, but commercial. And they are the undisputed king of basic industrial inputs, steel and cement. And these things that are not glamorous, they don't have Netflix miniseries about steel and cement or shipbuilding, but these are at the core of national power. They used to be at the core of our national power. We don't win World War II without industrial power. So how does that fit, this whole view of this domination that they're establishing in these key core industries within our broader confines of something that's not simply military or diplomatic? I mean, how are we melding that into our strategy? Because some of these are going to require us to lean heavily into our alliances, in essence, make sure that our allies in some sort of a consortium fashion are not just protecting their domestic industries, but protecting the existence of non-Chinese Communist Party-controlled sources of steel, cement, shipbuilding, and the other fields that they seek domination in. So how does this fit into the broader construct of our strategic approach to this challenge?
Great. Senator, I accept and deeply support that general worldview that you've just laid out. I would just add one or two things on the first part. You know, there is a huge debate in the kind of intellectual foreign policy whether this is another Cold War, right? The one thing I worry about sometimes about that debate is that when you say Cold War, it conjures up views of the struggle we had with the Soviet Union, which, as you describe, is really monochromatic. It was really in a couple of different sectors. And in truth, our economies were not linked at all in any way. One of the biggest challenges for the United States as it constructs a strategy, and I'm going to try to answer the second part of your question, is that there are very few countries that are more interdependent than the United States and China. And at the same time, there are very few countries that are more uncomfortable with that interdependence. Both the United States and China are both taking steps to ease, to remove elements of that connectivity, financially, manufacturing, lines of communication. So that's one of the biggest challenges. How do you take steps that then don't hurt your own economy? But the point that you make, I could not agree with you more. If I look, in government is about just surveying a list of challenges, like how can you figure out what to do about it. If I would ask the two things that we really need to get our act together on, naval shipbuilding, both surface ships, but submarines as well. When I came into the White House, I thought, and I believe still do, that our submarine program is the jewel in the crown, right? But one of the things that became clear looking at AUKUS is how much more, and I thank the people at this committee, that we had to invest in our own industrial base just to keep up, just to get subs back in the water that are in dry dock. We just have to do better. And the truth is, there are a lot of reasons why shipbuilding is challenging. We've got strong shipbuilding in the Northeast. We don't have enough workers. We don't have enough capacity generally. There are 1,000 reasons why naval shipbuilding is challenging. I would like us to think there might be ways that we could work with allies and partners here, but it's extremely difficult. A lot of domestic legislation, but I will tell you, when I look at the balance sheet, you went through several things, Senator, but the one thing you did not mention, but you think about it often, I know I've heard you speak about this, look at the difference in shipbuilding between the United States and China. Deeply concerning. We have to do better in this arena, or we will not be the great naval power that we need to be for the 21st century. I'll say one last thing. The 20-year engagement in the Middle East was largely about ground forces, about Army, about special forces. We made all the appropriate investments. We modernized, we innovated. Now is the Navy and the Air Force's time. They have to step up. They have to invest more. They have to be more innovative. They have to be more intrepid. And they've got to understand that the Indo-Pacific arena requires the most capable naval and advanced long-range air capabilities that the United States has ever needed before. And that's where we have to put our focus.